Recently, we have just celebrated the feast of let's get this right, it's really complicated, of Saint Pope John Paul II. Okay, so this amazing saint who lived just over 15 years ago, he died, and it's just so amazing. 13 years ago, he died, and he was a pope for about 25 years. It's like one of the longest reigning popes ever in history, and he had such a big influence on my life. So I'd just like to talk a little bit about why he was so important to me and what we can learn from his life. So the first thing is, what is a saint? Why is someone who lived only 13 years ago now a saint? What does being a saint mean? So being a saint means that you're in heaven. The church says that you're in heaven, you're holy, you've lived a holy life, and that in heaven they can pray for us down here. So if we ask him to pray for us, he can, because he's close to God now, he can get some stuff for us. You can ask him, help me with my homework, help me with my family problems, help me with this, help me with that, and his intercession will bring us the grace from God that we need. So that's what a saint is, essentially someone who lived down here and now lives up there, and they're on our side and we can pray to them. So he was just this amazing guy. He came from Poland, a really hard upbringing. He lived through Nazism, communism, and he fought for the church with all his life. He was just as strong as an ox. And he really inspired me for a number of different reasons. The first reason he inspired me was because when I was a teenager, I was kind of flirting with Buddhism and religions of the East and stuff. I was trying to be a bit of a hippie, really, and I rejected the church. And I read a line of something he wrote he said, young people, before you explore the religions of the East, look at the depths of your own faith first. I thought, well, fair enough. In Buddhism, there's loads of really complicated terms. I don't know if you looked at any Buddhism, but there are really complicated terms in Buddhism, and I didn't understand them. So I thought, I'll stick to what I know, and let's have a look at it and see if it makes any sense. And of course, here I am now, Catholic priest. So maybe it was down to John Paul II that I'm a priest. I don't know. But I started looking at my own faith and really learning so much about it, who Jesus was, what Jesus meant to me, and really, it wasn't easy, but I managed, I suppose, to understand that God loved me and that was the most important thing in my faith. I didn't need to look elsewhere because the love of God was exactly where I was. So that's the first thing about Pope John Paul II that really, really inspired me. Second thing that really inspired me, once I developed in my faith a lot later on, was his love of Jesus. Now, I think in the Catholic Church, we can often not really pay much attention to Jesus. We're all about the Catholic Church. It's all about the church, the church, the church, the church, the church. And we spend so much time talking about the church. But he was you've got to focus on Jesus first. Because without Jesus, there'd be no church. And it's Jesus who you have a relationship with. It's Jesus who saved you. The church hasn't saved you. It's Jesus who saves you. He works through the church, but it's Jesus. And that's had a profound effect on me. That I think we're so, we miss the point so much because we're always looking at the church. But of course the church lets you down because it's for the people who are weak and human. And it's very easy then to sort of get a bit lukewarm in your faith because the church can't give you what you need. It's the burning heart of Jesus that gives you what you need. It's his love which gives your life meaning and purpose. And there was a book written, and the title of the book was about John Paul II's teaching. It said, Christ is the answer. And I really believe that. Jesus is the answer to everything. He is the answer. Yeah, his church comes second, but he comes first. So that was something really important I learnt from St. Pope John Paul II, to put Jesus first in all things. That's been really inspiring. The third thing about his life that really, really inspires me is his missionary zeal. St. Pope John Paul II, massive mouthful, isn't it? St. Pope John Paul II, he travelled the world inspiring people. And one of the biggest things he did was set up the World Youth Days. And that was for young people to come and be with him in times of prayer. He'd give talks, speeches. And I just love those events. I went to Toronto and I went to Rome to see him with millions of other young people. And it was just so inspiring, so inspiring. And he went to that effort to inspire young people. And one of the things he said in Toronto, I remember it even now, just listening to him, he said, young people, you are not the sum of your weaknesses and your failures. You are the sum of the Father's love for you in Jesus Christ. And I think in my life, I've gone through a lot of struggles and difficulties, and life's not been easy emotionally for like since I was about 14. It's just life's been hard, and that's probably why I've searched for God, because my life I've not been content with what I've got because I've not been at peace, and God has been for me the answer to that discontent I've had. Saint Pope John Paul II really helped me to see that Jesus was the answer to all the yearnings of my heart, and he just went around the world doing that. And I just think that's so amazing that he could have just stayed in the Vatican and made a few comments, but he went to be with people, and that's been like a profound thing that he's done, that's really had a big impact on me. And the fourth thing, I think that maybe this is more me than Saint Pope John Paul II, I don't know, but I really feel that with Jesus being the answer, Jesus coming first, the church really needs to reform. I think we have to be a church which is vibrant, a church that wants to grow, a church that appeals to a younger generation. And I think Pope John Paul II has really helped me see there's that love of Jesus that will bring that change, that we have to put him first and want people to meet him and their lives to be saved as well. That's what we're about. We're not about an organisation which is just getting smaller and smaller. We've got to be like living our faith and loving Jesus. And I think that's probably, for me, one of the biggest legacies of St. Pope John Paul II. So I could go on forever about him, but I think I'll probably sort of bring it to an end there. If you like what you've seen, please just comment, make some comments. It's really nice to hear your feedback. That really helps me to know like what you're thinking. And yeah, click subscribe. Please click subscribe down there. It's there. It's that button there. See you next time.